Yeah, we designated spitters live every week. Live, designated homie, cause we spit heat. We designated spitters, Francis and Pete. Yes, talking Yankee baseball, hip hop for the streets. Yup, we designated. Yup, we innovative. Yup, we designated. Spitters time that you know. Yup, we designated. Yup, we innovative. Yup, we designated. Spitters, let's start the show.
Welcome back to the next episode of the one, the only Designated Spittaz. I love that damn intro, man. I can't stop hearing it.
Yes,
I could just keep singing it. I mean,
it turns you up. It gets y'all ready for what we bring every week.
No doubt.
Week out. Gets you ready.
No doubt
what
about
time it is?
Everybody knows what time it is.
Yeah, with the Spittaz, man.
The Spittaz, the one, the only, the Spittaz.
That's right. Interesting. Listen, man. The
Spittaz.
You know
that's
what's
an
hilarious?
inside joke. You guys ain't
know what's
gonna know that
I was
one.
gonna say, you know what's hilarious? That's an insider that we can't share with y'all just yet.
Something.
We got something coming, and eventually we'll share that joke with you. But
oh man, classic stuff.
D Spittaz is crazy. D Spittaz is crazy.
Yo,
We
what
can't
an
even,
intro!
man.
What an intro to the show, folks! I tell you, man, if you guys are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. But it's been 2 weeks of NyynewsTV, and I tell you what, man, I could not be happier with the way things have gone so far. We got no baseball at all, like nothing is happening. But for us to be able to weather this storm and keep putting out quality content for the fans, that's what it's all about. We're gonna keep doing it too until baseball's back. We're gonna keep doing it.
Yes, sir. No, that's the important thing, man. Like we're 2 weeks in, like you said, and we've been able to give you guys content, and more than anything, I just want to show appreciation to the fans. You guys have been great. You guys are viewing everything, getting subscribers. So shout out to all the new subscribers. Maybe we got some first time listeners in the building. If this is your first time listening to Designated Spittaz, welcome to the show.
Yep.
You ain't going anywhere. You're gonna love us. We love you. That's how it is. But straight up, like fans have been engaged. I mean, there's really not anything going on in baseball land. So it's
nothing. It's dry.
I'm sure,
man.
It's every time one of our videos drops, people are just like, wait, this podcast is out, that podcast is out. Like they're running to it, man, because it's like, hey, there's really nothing going on. So it's kind of interesting. You want to hear like what people are going to come up with, and I got to tell you, people have done a great job. I mean, the Twins had me dying this week.
Terrific, man.
The fellas had me dying this week. Even when, the fellas were whole, and then they lost it, they lost. Christian, I think, had to go, and they held it down. Dope episode. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the morning radio show on Thursdays, man. Oh man, so far it's just gotten better. So
it's classic, man. And it was a shorter. The crazy thing is, it was a shorter episode too.
Yeah,
but it was so damn good. It was so damn good, man. Felix got the skit game on lock. I can't deny that.
He's killing it. What I want to know is what other channel has anything even remotely close to that? Like
not even to what we doing in general. It's funny too because like when I hear Felix's show, just to give you guys a heads up, like the other morning we finished it at like 3:45 in the morning, and it airs at 5. So we had everything done. That I was up all night. I even told Felix like, shit, I might as well just stay up for the premiere and whatever. And it was like 5 or whatever. The premiere comes on, but just hearing it at that night, my dude hit the early morning radio vibe right out the gate so well. The choice of song, the Nirvana that came on at the beginning of it, then he just comes over it and everything. The skits jumping in. It just feels like it's early in the morning and you just listen to this, and it's a perfect listen.
That's what I said last
But even
week,
Chef
man.
too, like with Chef last night, like you just hearing Chef talk, you're like, man, this is a Chef talk. It's perfect. It's like he went straight to the point. We got a topic to cover. He covers it and he goes right in on it. And that's what we're doing here, man. There's nobody else out there. Most people out there that usually do podcasts, they taking time off. They're like, well, forget it.
They say there's nothing. They're like, there's nothing to talk about.
Not us.
I don't blame them. I agree.
No, I understand.
To be honest,
I
feel all the podcasters out there right now that are like, in this weird limbo because they're like, look, what do we do right now? Like we cover off-season moves. We cover trade rumors. We cover, signings, and then we cover actual games. But right now, there's nothing. So, like, what do we do? Like, I feel it. But, I mean, I think that's going to be where NYY News TV stands aside from the pack. Like, we're going to stand we're going to be different. We're going to stand out because, bro, like, if there's nothing to talk about, then we're just going to show up here and we're going to kick it with you.
Facts.
Right? Because
that's what it's about. That's what we about.
It's not just about, talking about the current events and things like that. We just got to check in with y'all every week. And we know a lot of you guys just want to check in with us also. So, we're here to do our jobs, man. We checking in. Francis Lee reported for duty. Let's go. All right? Turning the corner, baby.
And I tell you what, this is actually, because behind the scenes, I have to listen to every single podcast. I gotta work on every single podcast. I gotta do everything on them. But this is the one right here where, guess what? I do the work in the moment. So people don't understand that. Like, we film live. And if we screw up somewhere, and knock on wood, we've never done it. No, one time we did. One time we recorded for like 20 minutes and I was never recording. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
That was
I think it was longer than 20. I think it was
like
longer
30,
than 20
minutes. It was like 30 plus.
Yeah.
I was like, man, bro. I stopped. I was like, bro, I never hit record. I was like, we got to do all this over. I'm like, I was like, are you kidding me? But we did it. We did it over. We did. We basically record this like it would be live, because if I screw something up here, we would have to stop it and do it over, because it's recording with the template and everything else.
Oh yeah.
So, we're confident in our ability of doing this. We can do it. We can do it. But we got some fun things to discuss today.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we could jump right into it. I mean, baseball is still at a standstill. We know that. There was a meeting this past Thursday. Didn't really go too far. Some people are kind of like throwing their hands up, this is the worst case scenario. No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it was the worst case scenario. Because per my understanding, there was a little bit of movement on some issues that were key to the players. But still not the big luxury tax improvement. But nothing major. Nothing major. I wouldn't say it was like okay, no, we're done here. There's nothing to talk about. Let's go. Because I think they said the meeting at least lasted an hour or so.
Yeah, it was something.
Maybe that's an improvement.
But listen, at the end of the day, we know what the situation remains, baby. The players are still locked out.
They're still locked up.
And they won't let them in. They will not let them in. They locked out. They ain't getting into the parks.
Nope.
And it's not right now. What pitchers and catchers would normally be reporting sometime second week February.
Now, who the hell knows?
And right now, it's not looking like that. But listen, what we got, I think, from Thursday was, and I sent out a tweet early in the morning, and I was just like, look, but it was earlier in the week. Sorry, early in the morning. It was earlier in the week. And I said, look, what Thursday's going to tell us is basically like, have the owners in these 5 weeks since they last spoke, have the owners come to a place of we're ready to negotiate, or if they're still like in that mode of we want what we want and, we're going to play some games. And I was like, we're going to figure this out on Thursday. And I think what we figured out is that they're moving toward actually wanting to negotiate in good faith, but they're not fully there yet.
Well, they could play hard nose. You know what I mean? They could play hard nose, because at the end of the day, let's be honest here. The winner of this thing is going to be the owners. Always. It's always going to be the owners.
The owners have always won.
Yeah, but the players are never going to eventually come out as the true winner overall, but they could get a good chip in there to make a little bit of a dent.
At the end of the day, the way that baseball works is the owners are going to walk away every season,
of course,
making way more money than any player
they can't lose. They're the owners
could ever dream of in terms of a contract, right? Even if we get to that record-breaking $500 million contract that people expect Juan Soto is going to sign sometime here in the near future, it still doesn't match the kind of revenue that these teams make in that amount. Like, think Juan Soto would have to play a contract out 12, 13, 14 years to touch about $500 million in earnings, whereas teams make that in a couple years. And if you're the Yankees, you make that and more every single year that you play.
Yeah, that's right.
But in the end, the real winner is always going to be the owner.
All the time.
In terms of collective bargaining, I think that this year, the reason that the players have been so obstinate is because they need to walk away with small victories.
They have to. That's what I'm saying. They have to walk away. They have to feel like they get the small victory.
Exactly.
It's going to be
and
very.
It's not going to be everything.
No, and it's going to be very, very hard to even feel like, all right, well, we got a W. But if you could walk away and say, look, we kind of stuck our foot in the mud, we didn't move, and we got these couple of things done that we knew we wanted. That's going to actually benefit, especially the minor league guys, right? The guys coming up, how quick it takes. Because, even Sheffield brought up a good point. You got some of these guys that come up older, like Judge. They're not a free agent. They don't start seeing real money, but they could be an MVP candidate in year 1.
It's true.
And, okay, what do they make? Oh, $500,000. But they were the best player on your team that's making all this money? Nah, man. There's got to be something involved there where guys do get incentivized. And look, at the end of the day, if you don't like the money these guys are making, the owners only could blame themselves. So it doesn't matter. You can't, take that back now. I do like one thing Chef said. I don't think it'll ever happen. I love the idea of a 7-year minimum. I love it.
Maximum?
I love maximum.
Max contract. When I saw him tweet it, I immediately, retweeted it and said it was a great idea. I'm with it. I'm gonna tell you why.
I don't think it will ever happen, by the way. But I think it's a good idea. And there's bargaining you can have there, I think.
Yeah, I think.
But I like the idea of it.
Yeah, I think the issue is players, are opposed at this point because they're like, well, we need those 10-year contracts to get the money that we lost out earlier in our careers.
And exactly.
That's the reason that they're doing it.
Of
right?
Of course.
Owners have to realize that if you can get, to the table with the players and get them to agree to something like a 7-year max, right? Then you're gonna have to. They would agree to that if you concede in other areas. And that's the thing, is that the owners, they just want what they want and they never want to concede. And it's just like, look, man, you've been winning for years. You've been getting fat off of our, backs for years. Like, at this point, it's time to, you're going to have to make some concessions. And I think to really make the 7-year max contract work, you're going to have to make some concessions when it comes to free agency and getting players to free agency earlier and getting them to arbitration earlier. Because if you give the players that, then they don't really have a kick coming arguing against a 7-year max for contracts, because the owners could always come and fight and say, look, these 10-year contracts are doing, they're not doing much justice. The last 4 or 5 years of a lot of these contracts look terrible for the player and for the organization. Nobody wants to do it. You're never going to get a small market team to sign one of these contracts. So every time a player's up for a contract like this, you already know who's going to be involved, who the big players are. Yeah. There's no mystery. There's no drama. There's no, who it's going to be. It's going to be the Yankees. It's going to be the Dodgers. It's going to be the Red Sox. Maybe now the Mets. But you know who it's going to be. The Angels, if they want to spend, and the Phillies, if they want to spend. The big markets. But Tampa Bay, you never hear them in the conversation if it's a player seeking a 10-year contract. The Chicago Cubs, thus far, you've never heard them in the conversation when it's a 10-year contract. The Pittsburgh Pirates,
never.
Don't make me laugh.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
So the owners could argue that for the sake of competition, something like a 7-year max in contracts could help, because if it's just 7 years, now all of a sudden the smaller markets could stomach these contracts a little bit better, right? And now you could create more competition. And the local team where these stars are coming from, a la Oakland Athletics, now have to entertain the idea of extending a guy like Matt Olson or Matt Chapman instead of just trading them because they know they're not going to pay them what they're going to be worth, because they're like, it's only 7 years. You know what I mean? It's a 7-year deal. It's going to be, or whatever. So the players would do it, but I think the players are going to want to get to arbitration earlier and to get to free agency earlier, so that they essentially, they're getting paid earlier. This way, that free agency is not the first payday, because I think that is the big problem with this year's CBT.
Definitely a big problem. Well, the thing that I really like is I would like to see this change. I love the idea that they're looking to incentivize players for performing well upon coming up to the major leagues.
I love that. That
needs to happen. Whatever you do here, that needs to happen. That the players look at it and go, okay, I guess the only problem you got with that is manipulation now. Mm-hmm. Now you may incentivize manipulation. So, because I saw somebody say something like, I think Bob Nightingale's thing that I read out loud and I talked about each topic, said something along the lines of like, I don't know, a player, is deemed ready and they have to come up. I'm like, well, you can't do that. That's based off what the organization believes. Exactly. You can't just say a guy's 20 years old and he gets the AAA and he's doing great. They got to call him up. I mean, how do you judge that?
It's organizational needs too,
right?
Because
so exactly.
You could have right now the Yankees could have the best right field prospect ever or whatever, but they have judging right.
Right. So they're like, well, that's the reason he's not getting called up.
Would they bring him up? You know what I mean? Like, you can't force them to bring up a guy when they have a guy there. Like, it doesn't work.
But I love the idea of incentivizing players for coming up, doing well, whether it's arbitration starts earlier and like I said, if arbitration starts earlier, you're going to see more long-term contracts. You're going to see guys get contracts longer, much quicker. If they come up and do 2 really good years and immediately it's like, all right, well, hey, they performed so well, they made an all-star team. That means next year they may go up to $9, $10, $12, $11 million immediately. And teams are going to sit back and go, well, maybe we avoid that by giving them a 7, 8, 9-year deal if we think this guy is this good. And I think it gives teams and owners and GMs more of a thought of keeping your younger talent instead of just saying, all right, well, because think about it. If you're a team like Oakland or the Pirates, let's say the Pirates are going to eventually get rid of Reynolds. Right now, they're just saying, okay, well, he's going to hit arbitration. So what? Once it gets out of hand, we move him. So for them, it's not even like a conversation. Should we ever keep Reynolds? Why? We don't have to. We don't got to pay him too much, and eventually we're just going to deal him. So it's an easy choice for us. We never have to think about locking him in long term. And on top of that, the fans don't even expect it. So
I think
it doesn't matter.
If it's incentive based, then this argument that the players currently have, and rightfully so, about not getting paid properly and having their best years stolen from them financially, it becomes a non-starter if you're paying them at the young age. I think to put a button on like that part of it, the most important thing, right, and the biggest problem in the sport is we're not paying the players for their prime years.
Correct.
No player is getting paid for their actual prime years. Like, think about it.
They get paid after, and then people want to go, oh, well, he's not going to be good anymore after a few years.
No. Here, think about it. Garrett Cole's deal started 2 years late.
Of course.
The deal that he signed would have been perfect if it started 2 years earlier than it did.
Right.
It's perfect. Imagine if there was a 7-year max on it and it started 2 years from when it did.
It's an amazing deal.
Perfect contract.
Yep.
He's making $36 million on average, and probably 5 or 6 of those years he's at the top
of his game.
Performance.
Well, that's when you should get paid.
It makes all the sense in the world. That's when he should get paid. The problem is that in those 2 years, he still hadn't reached free agency. So he had to go through those 2 years. And now he signed a deal where he still is at his peak, but he has less of it in front of him than he did if he would have had that opportunity to get to free agency a couple of years earlier. The problem is now it works all in the owner's favor. It doesn't provide any leeway, any advantage to the players whatsoever, because not only do the owners get the cheapest years out of the player, but they get the best years, right, in terms of production at the cheapest price. And then when they hit free agency, they just say,
let them go.
Deuces. Let the Yankees sign you. Let Boston sign you. Yep. Let the Dodgers sign you, or whatever. Yeah, they're gonna have a couple years where you're pretty good, but they're gonna pay for a lot of years where you're trash. And we got those. We got the front end of those years when you were as good as you were going to be, for pennies on the dollar. Yeah. And that's, unfortunately, like, that's it. So now the player has to go out and fight in free agency to get what they're worth, because now every team is looking at them like they're damaged goods all of a sudden.
Of course. Well, the funny thing is, some people bring up like arbitration and go, well, no, they're getting arbitration, but that's not their value. Arbitration isn't the value they should be getting. For an example, Aaron Judge's rookie year.
Look at Judge. I was going to say Judge.
Look at his rookie year. What should he have got paid that year? 30 plus million?
Aaron Judge in his rookie year was about a $30 million player.
Mike Trout is typically these young years, 35 million.
I would say 25 million at least. At that,
minimum.
Maybe 30 million was excessive in 2017 because that number wasn't really like whatever. It was still. So let's say 25 million, 2017 would have been perfect for Aaron Judge.
So even let's say for an example, a guy like Ohtani. Let's say Ohtani came up and he didn't come up the way he did. He came through a draft system and he comes up to the major leagues and he's doing what he did this year. Typically, he'd be getting $500,000.
Yeah.
So think about that. Be making. And let's be fair here. What if this is the best year he ever has? And it very well could be.
But it's the same thing. It's like look at Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
There you go.
Look at how look at people
look at Teoscar Hernandez.
People don't realize this. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is still what 4 or 5 years from even sniffing free agency.
Yep. He'll get arbitration. He'll get big figures in arbitration, but not what he should be getting.
He's gonna get big figures in arbitration, but like he literally just had an MVP season.
Yep.
And made pennies on the dollar for it. Like now, when I'm saying pennies on the dollar, please don't misconstrue.
Yeah.
I know that these guys
we know
are
they're
making
millionaires,
hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. They're millionaires or whatever. I mean, Vladdy Jr.'s dad is a millionaire. I get it. I'm not saying that, but
based off the game, we're valuing it on Major League Baseball.
But my thing is, I'm talking about this in relation to the people paying them who happen to be billionaires.
Yes.
Off of them. So it's like, yes, when you're comparing like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. only making, I mean, it was his second. What did he make last year? Like five, like did he get to $1 million?
Did he?
Or I don't think he was there yet because it was.
I don't think he would already.
No, I want to get this. I want to get this verified.
It should be league minimum, I would assume.
That's what I think it was. That's what I would imagine. Let me see. Give me salary, please. Okay. No, I need to go to Sports Track because I love these people. Yeah, in 2022, it says he's going to make $8 million.
Okay.
Which is a lot.
Right.
Which is a lot.
Nowhere near the value
nowhere
if he has
near
the same year.
Yeah, it's not anywhere near what he would be making if he was actually like getting paid for his value. Like say that actually comes to fruition where you have to pay players based on like incentives and things like that. Like say like there's a thing for finishing top, depending on where you finish in MVP voting. Like a guy like Vladdy Jr. who finished second in the MVP voting, right? And you say his base has to be upwards of 20 million. That's fair to me.
What about incentives for players just coming up?
But that's what I'm saying. Like you should have incentive.
But
like,
see, that's the concern again, because these owners and they're assholes, man. They'll find a way to manipulate.
That's what I'm saying. That so when you do something like that, now what you're gonna see is it's gonna be blatant, right? To use a word from our good friend Adam King.
Ringing in with Adam King.
It's gonna be blatant to see the manipulation, because think about it. Now, if a guy like Vladimir Guerrero is a couple at bats away from hitting certain milestones that would get him certain incentives, and all of a sudden the Blue Jays start resting him, red flags are going to be raised.
100%. And now, that can be a concern of manipulation,
exactly.
And maybe there's a penalty on that.
But then maybe they need to instill a third party group who is not related to the players,
right,
and not related to the owners. It could be a group comprised of like former players, former MLB executives, just to be fair, have two different, sides of the table, and to form this group that's a third-party group that goes and investigates situations like that. Because that's what I think I don't know that we have in the MLB. We have the MLB Players Association, we have the MLB, the owners, and Rob Manfred is the commissioner or whatever, but who's the third party governing group?
There's not like an oversight
that mediates both sides.
And there should be I guess like in government they have an oversight committee that looks over everything. I think that would be a terrific idea, and that's the thing that I think
an
is
impartial
so odd.
group. An impartial group.
And there's so many ideas. Like these are just ideas we're throwing out that people, it's never going to happen. But things like this should be in place. These are common sense things that should happen. Yeah, okay. Everybody, like we talk about that. We go, well, now we're concerned about manipulation. Okay, well, that's fine to be concerned about it. But I'm telling you, this group will take care of that. And maybe they lose draft picks. Maybe they lose money. Maybe that player's awarded money for their team doing that to them. There's so many different ways of looking at it. So it's still ongoing. You know what I mean? Hopefully we get baseball started on time. I think there's still time for that to at least have the regular season start on time. Because I think most players will tell you if we got to, skip spring training or maybe spring training is a week, we don't care. We'll jump right into the regular season. Nobody really is too concerned about that.
I think most players, and a lot of analysts have already brought this, to the forefront. Most players will be fine with 3 weeks of spring training.
Yeah.
They don't like it. They don't like the month-long thing as it is. Right. A lot of players say they don't like it, and that's why you don't see a lot of them play very much. Like They'll play, 2 weeks with some consistency. The last week of spring training, I mean, how often do you see the big name players?
Yeah.
You don't. Like those last couple of games, like you're getting looks at guys who are like still fighting for roster spots and things like that. But it's like these guys are playing like, a couple innings at the top of the game and they're out and you don't see them because they don't really feel like they need it.
Right.
And I guess where the game is today, like technically you don't, because I mean, you could technically have a 8 weeks of spring training and still have, those early struggles in April when you start to do it, because unless you're going to do spring training to make it look exactly like the beginning of the season is always going to be a different gear. It's always going to be a different gear.
Of course.
So
it's always going to be very different.
I think that's the beauty of the game of baseball. It's like the whole mid-season form thing, like, is so true in baseball.
Oh, no doubt.
Like,
no doubt.
Look at how good. Think about how good the game gets in June and July.
Terrific.
And August, like
terrific.
It gets, because it's like it's a slow burn, but it gets there and it just goes. So let's see. I think that's the only thing we can look forward to as fans, guys. We're gonna have to wait until.
Who knows when they're gonna have another meeting too?
We have to wait until they actually have something to lose on both sides. Right now, there's no pressure on either side.
It's just a standoff. Right now, you're looking at a standoff because that's what it is, and somebody's gonna blink, and eventually, I think, unfortunately, it's probably gonna be the players that will finally just say, all right, let's get this ball rolling. And again, too, maybe it could be the owners because they don't want to lose money. Spring training, they make money.
Yeah.
So if they start losing games on spring training, they make money on spring training. So
that's what I'm saying. They're the ones who are gonna lose early on. The owners will probably lose more, but
if it continues, let's hope not. That would be the worst case. And I'll be honest, I'm gonna be a little biased here. That's the worst case scenario for us, for content creators. We need baseball back because look, we're doing well as a channel now. We got so many people subscribing, and that's why I'm like, I think all of us are so pumped about where this is headed. Because right now with no baseball, we got people still subscribing. I think we're up like 186 for the last 28 days. So, I mean, we're still pumping that stuff up. Fans are still wanting to see what we got to say. But, man, when baseball's back, my Lord, like, you ain't got nowhere else to be than right here, being covered on all angles. So
we're going to have you covered everywhere.
I mean, let's just hope soon enough there's some sort of breakthrough. Maybe another meeting happens before the end of the month and there is traction moving forward and there's another something else after that. Somebody breaks that we're getting close to a deal and boom.
Yeah.
I mean, then we're ready to go. But the Yankees are out there still running their business. They get a big newcomer, big young player. Everybody, before you go crazy, he's a shortstop, but let's relax for a second, all right? So Roderick Arias, as we all knew, has been signed to the New York Yankees. He got $4 million, not the $3.5 million that some people were saying. He did get $4 million. But Roderick Arias, if you saw my video that I put out yesterday about Arias, you will know he is 6'1", about 180 pounds. He's a switch hitter. Everything you hear about him is the bat speed is terrific, hard hitting all over the place, very good from both sides of the plate. And you hear about his defense everywhere too, because just because he's listed as a shortstop, everybody just relax. Francis, you put up a terrific tweet about that. And matter of fact, I wanted to share it. So if you don't mind, Francis, I'm going to read your tweet that I have right here. So Francis said this: the best defensive player on the diamond normally plays shortstop. Hence why no team can ever have too many of them in their system. You can move them almost anywhere on their way up to the majors. Congrats to Roderick Arias. Kudos to the Yankees for landing another #1 signing. So that is, again, at @1Francis Lee. Go follow Francis. But, Francis, you hit the nail on the head, man. I saw so many people, smacking the desk, getting upset that, that they didn't sign or that they signed another shortstop. And then also, too, I forgot his name, but they also got a Venezuelan shortstop.
Yes, I'm looking. I was trying to get his last name.
Is it Jose Suarez?
His first name is Luis. It's
Luis Suarez. Luis
Suarez. Yeah.
So they got Luis Suarez also, who's from Venezuela, is another shortstop. So, everybody calm down. The upper level guys, like I said in my video too, a guy like Volpe can move, and he's close. A guy like Peraza can move, and they're close. But you wouldn't be too concerned about moving guys like that to other positions because how valuable they are and how athletic they are at shortstop.
Listen, man. The Yankees, like, in terms of like drafting internationally, the Yankees have to be one of the best teams in baseball.
They've done a good job. They've done a good job on that. I agree.
I'm not. There's one thing that I'm going to say. Like, I'm not gonna knock like, how they've done in that department, because I knock the Yankees on a lot of different things, and I think rightfully so. But when it comes to international signings, we have to admit the Yankees have done a pretty solid job since Hal has taken over, and I think Hal has kind of given Cashman that free reign to really pursue one of his dreams, because Cashman for a while was like crazy about like this international pool and stuff like that. But early on,
he made trades getting the pool money. Remember?
Yeah, the boss wasn't really. He didn't like international pool money to George Steinbrenner. He's like,
yeah, whatever.
What are we talking about here? Like, like, get me the Cuban that's already on U.S. soil. Yeah. Like, don't go.
Get me a calzone. I want a calzone.
Gotta have the calzone, George.
Calzone, George.
So it's like, I'm sure he had a tough time trying to get the boss in on that. But I think Hal, obviously, different mindset, a little bit of a different kind of thinker.
Well, it saves this too.
It saves a lot of money.
Definitely saves money.
That's how it was framed. And now, Cashman has been able to be, the captain of international pool money. He's always getting it. He's always finding a way to get it back in trades and everything like that. And we joke about it or whatever, but it's like, look, he's turned it in the last couple of years. He's turned it into Jason Dominguez. He's turned it into Roderick Arias. Look at the pictures that we have from the DR. You got Heel, you got Medina, Davey. Once upon a time was a highly touted guy, came from the DR.
Facts. Wilkerman Garcia. There's a lot of guys in the minor leagues too.
From Venezuela, we take guys from Venezuela, getting guys from Cuba. They've done a very solid job, is what I want to say. Like, when you look at the potential that we have coming internationally, they have done a really, really good job, and I'll give them that. Like, when it comes to hitters, I do not really like knock the Yankees there. Like, we've seen them mold hitter after hitter. They do it all the time. Like, these guys come up and they're hitting or whatever, and then sometimes the league will figure them out or something like that. But just think back. Like, Greg Bird, when he first came up, was pretty freaking solid. Gary Sanchez was amazing. Terrific. You know what I'm saying? Miguel Andujar, pure professional hitter. Like, they keep doing it. So with hitters, like, when I see us sign a Jason Dominguez, or I see us go and grab a Roderick Arias, I'm like, you look, man,
pretty confident.
Chances are this guy's going to make it, and he's going to be pretty solid.
Yep.
Now, what are the chances that he comes up and he's still a shortstop? Well, those chances are obviously much slimmer and different, because that's why I put out the tweet that I put out. Because we can't, it's so, like you said it last week's episode, talking about the comment that Ozzie Jr. made, shout out to them over there, talking about his dad telling the Marlins that Cabrera wasn't going to be a shortstop, right?
Yeah.
He's like, he's not going to be a shortstop. And they're like, what do you mean? Of course he's going to be a shortstop. Like, no, the game is so different. Like, when you're drafting a kid out of the DR, you're drafting a lanky, slender built kid or whatever. Yeah. Like, this is how they come from my motherland. But they get here, they begin to
bulk
train.
Up. They eat our food and forget.
Bro,
they eat the food here in America. Forget it.
Look, it might seem like something that people think is just a joke or something that we're saying, but it's
not.
Very serious. Look, the Dominican Republic is a very, very, very poor country.
Yep.
Like, these kids, look, if you haven't seen like documentaries or things about like how baseball players are cultivated in the DR, you should, because it's super interesting.
Yeah,
I know, because I happen to be Dominican and I have family who's from a very, very, my family originates from a very poor part of the island, and I'm telling you, like, these kids, man, they live and breathe baseball. But like, literally, it's not just because they love it so much. It's really all they have, a lot of us, right? So like, they're coming from backgrounds where they don't eat the best every single day. Sometimes there's not enough to get whatever, like, but they're out there and they're training, they're going hard or whatever. So of course they come here one way, they get to America, they got this signing bonus, now they're living good. Now they have access to like real gyms with real weights and real
Let me tell you something. And let me tell you something too. If you've ever had McDonald's in DR, it is 10 times better than here.
Oh, it's way different.
It's not even better than here.
It's not even the same restaurant. It's like,
you get a Presidente while you're there.
It's not even the same restaurant over there.
Not at all, man. But no, it's funny.
We don't know if he's gonna be a shortstop.
You have no idea. You have no idea. You don't know how his body's gonna shape out. And the one thing too, and when I talk about that is it's like, you obviously know it's factual. Like, one of my fiance's cousins, they actually just got to America, I think like 7 months ago. And Jonathan was a skinny ass dude. Jonathan just blew up. He blew up because the food is different. The food is very different in America compared to what, DR don't got all these hormones and preservatives thrown in their foods and all this other stuff. And, nobody's going to fast food places every other day if you can for a quick bite. It's very, very different. So, one of the things I enjoy most about going to DR is just having an understanding for things like that and getting to see that up close and personal and all that. So, it's a big difference. But Roderick Arias, I mean, he's everything you want. Him and Jason Dominguez are everything you want in a player. If you're going to put some money into some guy and it's like you got to create your own player, man, you could have guys they're switch hitters. They could hit for power. They could field. They could run. I'm like, okay, we're not missing nothing here. This is the guys we want. And the Yankees have added 2 of them. And that's very, very damn impressive. So I agree with you. I give the Yankees, I understand Hal Steinbrenner's, but, few years down the line, these guys aren't too costly. So giving a $4 million signing bonus or a $5 million signing bonus or $6 million signing bonus is whatever. It is what it is. You know what I mean? We get it done. We're okay. Down the line, they don't cost that much. But it's interesting, and this could lead actually very well into I feel like the big topic that I definitely want to talk about. Joel Sherman wrote an article, Francis, that you went over.
Oh, yeah.
Time about changing the Yankees policies. You see on the screen there, I just wrote time to change policies. And what we mean by that is a lot of the things that the Yankees do, right? The facial hair policy, the names on uniforms is almost sickening to even say it. But Francis, I'll let you. I didn't read the article. I didn't read the Sherman article, so I don't know if you did. But,
I did.
If you can give us a little feedback on it.
Yeah. Joel Sherman put out an article, saying that there's not much to talk about since the MLB is locked out, but it'd be a good time to revisit the policies that the Yankees currently have that are starting to seem archaic in today's climate of Major League Baseball. His opinion came through, pretty loud and clear in the article. He thinks that the Yankees should do away with pretty much all of those things. But I want to say from the outset, it's not that I disagree with him. I just don't agree with everything. I think I'm one of those people who's been outspoken, and you guys could go back through my tweets. I've said that I would love the Yankees to have an alternate jersey. I've said that, but I don't want to put names on the back of the pinstripes either. You know what I mean? So
it's or advertisers. I hope they don't do that.
He went in the article and he mentioned this is the same team that agreed to put the logo of one of the world's biggest, sponsors and organizations in Nike right across from the interlocking NY that's become so famous over the years. But I'm just the MLB signed a deal.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm pretty sure,
and you had to have probably every owner even agree to that.
That's the thing. So every owner has to agree. They can't be the only ones.
Right. And I'm pretty sure everybody was cool with it. And then you're going to have House sit back and be like, nah, we're not going to do that.
Here's the thing. It's when it comes to things like that, this is a deal that's very lucrative. That's going to make money for the entire league.
Correct.
Hal can't sit there and say I'm sorry, we're the New York Yankees. We can't put anything on our pinstripe. It comes off as pompous, as real proud and arrogant. And it doesn't seem like, you're a team player. Hal has been trying to cultivate this persona of a team player as one of the owners. So of course he's not going to veto putting the Nike sign on the jersey. That's going to make money for the league.
Yeah, that's not a major change too. That's like somebody saying, okay, well, Champion's buying it. They're going to put the little champion thing right there and that's it. You're
exactly.
All right. I mean, that's
yeah.
I'm just worried about seeing a DraftKings logo right on the sleeve, this big.
Yeah,
because that's coming because they're pushing the gambling hard.
They're working.
So.
Well, they're working. That's apparently a point of negotiation right now with the CBA negotiations. Is the owners talking about bringing in outside, obviously sponsorships they already have for the stadiums and things like that, but bringing it to the point of putting it on jerseys because the NBA has already done it. And we see, that it hasn't really changed too much. It's just it's there. It's like in the beginning, it was like a thing, but like now you don't even look at it. Me being an NBA fan, it's true. Like I don't even pay attention to it. And even with I'll say the same thing with the Nike sign on the jersey. Like first it came, I wanted to see how it would look. I saw it. I was like, it looks different. It's a little weird. Like I'm not used to it or whatever. I mean, in 2021, I didn't have I wasn't looking at the jersey like, oh, that Nike sign. It's just, I can't do it. I was right. Whatever, bro. It's there. Like, I don't know. Maybe with the sponsor logos, I don't know how they would do it. I would hope that they find a way that it doesn't become an eyesore, but the whole thing is like, you want the eyes on the logo. So it does kind of have to be like in your face.
Yeah. It's going to have to be somewhere where you get close-ups and stuff like that. You can actually see it somewhere. But my whole thing is this: when it comes to, I could summarize Yankee tradition very easily. If I am Steinbrenner, and I don't really trust him in doing this because I don't know how much he cares about his father's legacy. I don't want to say he doesn't. I think he does, but let's be honest, he's a very different person.
That's for sure.
George let it be known in interviews that tradition is tradition, and that's the end of the story. The Yankees have a tradition, and that's it. So for me, if that was my father who owned the club and now I'm taking over the team, I got a very easy excuse of why I'm not doing it. This team is owned by our last name. My father's one of the greatest, most known owners in history. He took this stuff very seriously. I understand times may be changing, but the New York Yankees will not change. The New York Yankees will keep their tradition the way it is. The facial hair policy could stay the way it is. The jerseys could stay the way they are. We're not going to put names in the back. We don't need to. And that's it. Simple as that. Now, if there's something along the lines of Major League Baseball and everybody's making money, we can evaluate it. Maybe there's a thing that the Yankees could just say, we're going to dock ours a little bit and we don't put as much, or it's smaller. Something. I don't know. But there's ways of doing it. But for me, and let's be real here. Let's act like there hasn't been Yankees that take them out with a pretty decent 5 o'clock shadow going on there. CC Sabathia always had it.
Well, this is one of the points that Sherman made in the article. He's like, you already kind of let guys do it, right? You just don't go like full on with it. And I'm like, here's the thing. Like, we're a long way from George Steinbrenner calling and saying Mattingly couldn't play because his hair was too long. Right. We're a long way from that. I mean, yeah, the rule is the hair is not supposed to come down past the collar. Garrett Cole has hair. It doesn't come down. It does. I don't think it comes. I don't think I've ever seen his hair go over the collar. His does a little curl, but it curls. Back, so. It curls. But I mean, like if he like pulled it down, I'm sure it's longer than collar length. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Like you said, CC pitched with a 5 o'clock shadow all the time. Pettit was another guy who pitched with a 5 o'clock
and
all the time.
George was alive. Clemens, exactly.
Clemens was another guy. They say that the rule for the facial hair is that you can't have anything under the lip. So if I have a mustache, it has to stop at the bottom of your top lip.
But they had
nothing from the bottom lip down.
They had that as recently.
Has had the soul patch.
Yeah, he had the soul patch. But then also, if you go back to Jason Giambi, remember when he did the thing that year when everybody had grew mustaches, and he grew like the Fu Manchu almost. I mean, he came all the way down.
Yeah. But I mean, a couple of guys had a couple different things. And here's my thing: it's like I feel like the Yankees have been sort of flexible. It's just
but even under George, that's my thing. Like George was a stickler on it, but he was alive all the years with Andy Pettit. It was obvious. You could look at almost any Pettit pitcher when he's up close, and you could see he got a 5 o'clock shadow. It's not that big of a deal, in my opinion. My thing is, I think the Yankees get a bad rap too for the whole business-like thing, but I think it's more of a clean look. They don't want guys coming in looking like Johnny Damon. And at the end of the day, hey, that's the employer. You know what I mean? And Virginia, for an example, Virginia is a state that can fire you for anything. I could go to work one day, or somebody go to work one day looking sloppy, and they are legally allowed to say, we don't want you here like that. Yeah.
Well, my thing with that is like, look, Joel's point there
you just turned him Hispanic.
Yeah, I did turn him Spanish. Joel Sherman. No, his point there was
he's from Sherman Avenue too.
He's like in the BX borough. You already know. His point there was pretty interesting. He was just like, oh, like you don't want it to get to the point where the Yankees are embarrassed by a player who doesn't want to be there because of this rule. And I was just like, that's where me and him kind of go to different paths.
I'm sorry. I disagree. That doesn't.
If a player tells me that, if a player just like comes out and publicly says like, oh, like, yeah, I'm never playing with the Yankees because I don't want to cut my hair or shave my beard, then I don't care. Like, then I don't want you on my team.
Then don't
if
play
you don't
here,
care,
right.
if you don't care enough to do that, or if that's too much to ask from you, then I think you're immature just because it's like, bro, I'm not dying on the hill of my hair or freaking beard. I think that's immature. Unless there is like some traditional, like religious, like reason or something, some symbolic thing of why you have your hair a certain way or why you wear your beard a certain way, then that I could understand. And you saying like, yo, you know, like I wear my this like this because like I got my beard like this because my dad had it, and you know, I want to look like my dad. I want to still like carry his name, his face, and everything, and like represent him still. So I wouldn't want to go to the Yankees because I wouldn't want to have to shave that because I feel like, you know, I'm doing this for my. If you came like that, yo, respect.
Then
to
it
you,
is what it is, right?
It is what it is, bro. Maybe, you know, I think maybe then, hey, that just goes to show like you were never really supposed to be a Yankee then, right? Because you're doing that and we do this over here. But to make that like a hill to die on, like, oh nah, I can't. I'm not going over there because I don't want to cut my hair and shave my beard. Let me tell you something. Johnny Damon happily got a haircut and a shave.
And didn't he donated all the to like cancer or something like that? I feel like they did that.
Pete, how many guys have we seen happily do that? But happily. A lot. Okay?
A lot.
I mean, you had Bryce Harper the year leading into his free agency shave right before the series against the Yankees. He wasn't even a Yankee. He wasn't even a free agent.
Bryce Harper's the one that got away, bro. He's the
Yankees
one that
were coming to town. He was.
And I know we going. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole there because we're a little limited today.
Yeah, no, but he's the one.
I don't want to go on that, but Bryce Harper's the one that got away, man. He's the one. That got away.
Because he wanted. I look, as much as there was a big hoopla made over how bad Manny Machado wanted to be a Yankee, and I think rightfully so. I think Bryce Harper wanted it even more.
I think so too. I think there's something to that. I think Bryce Harper really wanted to be a Yankee. I think with Manny Machado, it's because we saw him so much too. So it was different. Fans were like, oh, we saw him so much. We know who he is. And you know, you got to see him more. And there was a lot of rumors too with Machado that like, oh, I'm going to,
there was that stuff at the All-Star break, remember?
Yes, when he took the pictures with all the teams.
They took that picture and they were talking.
Who was it? Chapman, him? It was all Yankees. They all took Yankee pictures together.
Chapman, Gleyber.
Gleyber on an All-Star team.
Sanchez.
Yeah, no, bro.
These were different times.
We had times. We had one of those blue bouncy balls you get from the bodega. They were hitting. That's what they were hitting for home runs.
They were. But that was such an interesting year, bro. And that's what it is. That like spurred everything on. And then a week later, 2 weeks later, he was a Dodger.
Yep. So the last thing I want to cover, this one should get a laugh at everybody, but I want to cover. Of course, you guys know we do the tweet of the week now. The tweet of the week is by my man at Hambone. 650171. He replied to me about Rachel Belkovic being the first woman. He said, Pete, there's already a female manager, Aaron Boone. So Hambone, at Hambone, you are getting the tweet of the week this week. Because of that.
Ladies,
you know why you're getting that? Because you made me laugh, fam. That's exactly why. You brought an actual laugh out of me. That was good.
Ladies and gentlemen, clap it up. Shout out to Hambone at Hambone on Twitter. Check him out. Listen, man, that was hilarious. I'm not gonna hold you. That day when like everybody was going like, you know, crazy and everything. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying crazy like in a bad way, because I know the mob would come after me thinking I'm like trying to hate on Rachel Balkovich, and it's not even. I'm not hating on her at all.
I've been working on my roundhouse kick.
They were like everything, all you saw on, you know, Twitter and everything that day was like, you know, oh, Rachel Balkovich and whatever like that. And it was like, okay, like I'm looking, like after I saw the interview, I saw the presser, I'm reading everything, and it's like it's going, and then like it gets to that point where it's like, okay, I've seen the same story like 30 times straight, and it's like, and I just see this one tweet like, but why are they saying she's the first female manager? We've already had Aaron Boone for years. I was like, and I'm just like, oh shit.
Poor Booney, man.
I'm like, Booney can't get a day. He caught a stray on a day he had nothing to do with. He had nothing to do with it.
Booney,
and he still caught a stray.
I almost feel bad for Boone. I had a Boone apologist, by the way, be like, yeah, there definitely wasn't 70+% of Yankee fans who wanted him gone. I'm like, bro, it was actually more like 90. It was more like 90. Everybody at the end of the year wanted Boone gone. Let's be real here.
Let's be honest. Even if we won the World Series next year, I think I'm going to start that episode by saying, listen,
we won
last offseason, we all wanted this guy gone. Let's be honest.
No doubt about it.
Let's be honest.
I mean, the thing is too that he can't help himself right now. That's how you know he's in a bad faith with all Yankee fans. He put out, I think, Talking Yanks put out his quick little video clip, which they edited because he wasn't just talking about. He was talking about Eric Adams, the new governor or mayor in New York, and he said, the governor, right? He's the new governor, new mayor. And he said basically, wishing him luck, and he's like, we also look for big things in 2022 or whatever. And he got ripped to shreds. They were like, bro, you ain't done jack shit. And like, who the hell are you to say anything? Like, go back in your damn den somewhere. Go hide, man. Like, go back in the locker room. Let Judge come out and say that. Like, what are you doing? Go back in the bathroom.
Look, first of all, I ain't trying to get political at all, man. But when I saw that he's doing a video with Eric Adams after
word, you right?
After the crap that Eric Adams just spewed out of his mouth, I was like, bruh, please don't associate yourself with this dude. Like, not right now, bro. At least not right now. But whatever, man. It's
people always tell me this. You know, I get so mad at people because I guess I've given myself this rap that I'm like some big Republican conservative now on Twitter, which in reality I'm actually really not. I just have certain values and that's it. I don't consider myself a Republican. There's values in Democrats I actually like. But it's funny because I was like, oh, here's Boone again. And everybody goes and listen to me. You do know he's registered as a Republican, right? I don't give a shit. Like, what does that do for me? I don't care.
I don't care. Like, I don't care what he's registered
as. And on top
of
that, that doesn't mean that just because you're registered as something don't mean you vote that way. But on top of that, I don't give a poot. Because I talk politics don't mean that you got to agree with me on every damn. It's just stupid. I'm like, when I saw somebody say that, they said it like twice. I think it was actually two different people. I'm like, what the? So that means I shouldn't criticize him? Like, what? I'm supposed to change my opinion because apparently he votes Republican? I don't give a shit. I don't care how Aaron Boone votes.
Bro, it doesn't matter. Like, that's what it's just so silly.
That's
like,
stupid,
that stuff,
stupid.
That stuff doesn't matter, bro. I just thought it was hilarious that, like, Twitter, everything, everywhere that was talking baseball that day was talking about Rachel Balkovich.
I will say this.
And out of nowhere, Aaron Boone catches a stray.
I have my opinion on the whole Rachel thing, and I think I explained it on my live chat. You know, I allowed people to go back and forth with me. There's nothing wrong. She's earned her spot. God bless her. I'll tell you what. Rachel aced that press conference. I'm going to give her credit.
She knocked that out of the park.
Let me tell you something, bro. One of the things, like, I think Arby sent me something. Like, Arby, I never read that or heard that. I don't know. I think you might have messed up on that or missed something. Still haven't saw that, by the way. Because Arby was like, she wants to be friends with their girlfriends and stuff. Like, what the frig? Oh, God, please no. But anyway, I don't know if she did because the parts I heard, I was impressed because they asked her flat out, like, how are you going to, people, and I forgot who asked it, but I was like, that's a valid question because they're like, there's going to be people that are going to wonder, how are you going to run a clubhouse? And she was like, no, I'm hard-nosed. Like, you're going to do what I'm asking you to do, and I'm going to tell you what to do on things, and I'm going to expect very high expectations. And I'm like, Aaron Boone would be like, well, we're going to start off with getting onesies, and, we're going to get fuzzy slippers.
He said, we got Aaron's birthday party at the bowling alley next week, guys. Everybody remember. And don't worry, I did send flyers to your family. Yay!
And everybody goes, yay, Aaron! They start clapping and stuff.
Gleyber Torres had a single today. Cupcake party.
Yeah, Gleyber Torres. Gleyber, I know you went 0 for 4 today, but you also won the Mushroom Cup in Mario Kart. We're excited. So... I mean, listen, it is what it is. But anyway, guys.
There is an air to her that seems a lot tougher than Aaron Boone.
Oh, she'll beat the shit out of Aaron Boone. She would beat the shit out of Aaron Boone. I'm going to keep it real. I'm sorry. I got to keep some stuff real.
Listen, now that sports betting is legal in New York.
We're going to get off this, and I got to tell you the story. Because that's part of the story. I got to tell you that story.
I was going to say, now that sports betting is legal in New York, what are the odds?
She would beat the brakes. She would be a negative 1,200 favorite.
Negative 1,200.
It would be huge. It would be the biggest upset almost ever if she lost. Her biceps are bigger. Her legs are bigger.
Booney.
Her shoulders are bigger. She's wider. I guarantee you she's stronger than Boone. There's no doubt in my mind.
Is Booney down bad like that? Really?
Bro, come on, man. Look at Boone had bigger. she does.
Oh my God.
You saw the new video? Boone got bigger tits than she does.
Emotional, damn it.
Yeah, poor Boone. Boone, if you see this, man, it's all right, buddy. It's all right, buddy. Just go out there and win a World Series. We love you. You know the crazy thing is, me and Boone gonna have a face-off one day. You know what's gonna happen.
You know what I think? You know how
Boone gonna whip my ass.
Let me tell you how beautiful.
Boone gonna whip my ass one day.
how beautiful I think the world is. I think that there's gonna be a time that we're hitting our stride, we're super successful, we're out there and stuff like that. It's gonna be, not too long from now, a couple years from now, whatever. And I think Booney and Simonetti are gonna be pals.
Hey, look,
it's gonna happen.
Can I just say this? Can I just say so people don't get a bad rap about me? I think I put every. I'm just gonna keep it real. People, you don't have to believe it or not. I put almost everybody over myself when I go about daily life or whatever. When I'm thinking about NY News, I'm thinking about like your guys' family. I'm thinking about my team.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I really want. And people could believe that or not. It is what it is. But I never disliked Boone as a person. I don't dislike Boone. My anger comes from Boone. It's like, bro, we can see that this probably isn't who you are. And I don't know how you as a man can live your life that way. That's what I question. I almost feel like I just sounded like Ozzie Guillen. But I don't know how you can live your life that way of being that type of fake person. Even if you're like, well, I'm just happy with being the Yankee manager. All right, well, then I got to call you out on your shit. I can't. Like, if Boone came on here one day and we were all cool, I would tell him flat out, Boone, look, nothing against you as a person. You're probably a great guy. Probably get along fine. I just don't understand it. You could deny this all you want. How you could be the type of person you are with your family's name. I don't know how you do it. However you do it, keep doing it, I guess, and God bless you for making your money. But I couldn't do it. I'm just like, well, I don't do it. It's obvious, bro. Everybody knows it's obvious. You're not managing. We all know you didn't make that wild card lineup. At the Italian American Baseball Foundation, that's what I wanted to ask him. I just wanted to go up to him and say, hey, I'm this person, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Be nice. Booney, I know. You can say what you want. You didn't make that wild card lineup. You didn't make it.
No, come on.
You and I both know. You don't got to say nothing. We know you didn't make it. I just hope that you could take the reins a little more. That's it.
He knows too much baseball. He knows too much baseball to have to do that.
No doubt about it.
Damn, it's crazy. We always get into this thing, right? Like where we put up a great topic, but I'm going to have to save this one, man. But like I got into argument with this dude this week, like who put out this lineup for the New York Yankees, and he had Kyle Schwarber. He had Kyle Schwarber leading off, and I'm just like, here we go with it. And here's the caveat. He
gets on base, and I get it, and that's the big new thing. But he's not a leadoff hitter. He's
not. But that's the thing. That's the thing. Is like that was my argument. It's like, bro, I want to like, you don't understand like how badly like I want to like interact with all the other people on Yankees Twitter and things like that. But the dudes like that, and then they want to argue you down and like try to make you sound dumb and try to make you sound stupid.
They're under 20.
When they sound like the stupidest people, but I'm dumb. Why? Because
I'll throw this.
Like, come on,
I'll throw this out here real quickly. What I've noticed on Twitter, and it's not knocking them, it's the 15 to 18-year-old group. For an example, Felix talked about this. They tried to dox me and Felix for whatever reason, and I just warn everybody right now: Felix is not a dude you want to mess with online. I'm just warning you now. Before you try to do something, be very, very smart. Be very educated about what you do. I told you already. You could DM me if you got a problem. I'll give you my address. Just promise to show up. That's all. That's all I ask. Just promise you show up. Because when you do shit like that, you need to be punished. I'm sorry. Somewhere you need to be punished because that's some stupid boy shit. But if you ask anybody who's the best leadoff hitter ever, I think everybody knows it's Ricky Henderson. Yeah. Why? Oh, because he got on base. He could hit too. Okay, he got on. What did he do after he got on base? He stole bases. He had 40-something steals in May.
And even when he didn't steal bases, the pitchers were literally falling all over themselves because they thought he was going to.
So again, you got a guy.
It changes the whole game plan.
Let's say the Yankees did this with Joey Gallo and he went back to what he was in 2021, but with Texas. When he hit 220, he had a 30, got on base 39% of the time based off just walks alone. He gets on base. Yeah, we know that. Okay, what does he do after that? He's fast. He got good speed, so he could probably score on a double. Yeah. But he's not stealing bases for you. Pitchers aren't concerned about Joey Gallo running now.
No, but that's the thing. That was the argument. It's like their argument to me, because they're arguing and saying like, no. But the thing is like, oh, it's not just about speed. Like, why is it just about speed? LOL. Oh, and what was it? I forgot. Wait, he went to like Baseball Savant or something. Was like, oh, Baseball Savant actually has Kyle Schwarber as with a faster acceleration speed than DJ LeMahieu. I'm like, DJ LeMahieu was injured for 90% of the season last year. What are you God forgive me, bro, but it's like the names and things that come to my mind when I'm talking to these people. It's because I know that they're kids, they're children,
they're dumbasses.
Who don't know what the hell they're talking about.
It's the same. You know what? If you're if you're 15, like, I'll give you this. You probably know technology more than I do. You probably are better with computers than I am.
Maybe.
But I can tell you what, maybe. But when it comes to baseball and all this stuff, you are missing out a whole side of what baseball is, and you got these little numbers, so it makes nerds and people that never had involvement in baseball start having to understand it because there's numbers involved. But if you really think that a leadoff hitter shouldn't be adequate speed and halfway decent, and you think Kyle Schwarber is, you're out your friggin' mind. You don't need to build a lineup and go, well, Kyle Schwarber should be the leadoff hitter.
Nobody, but here's my thing, is like my argument is very simple. Okay, you think that's the case? Then look at the last 5 World Series champions and tell me which one of those teams had a leadoff hitter that looked like Kyle Schwarber. You're not going to find one.
How many Yankee fans enjoyed the wild card lineup? To this day, it's still a conversation because everybody's sitting there saying Anthony Rizzo leading off. What?
It's like,
why?
This is the nonsense that like analytics has brought to the game. Like, that's what I'm saying. You got to take the good with the bad sometimes, and I get it. But it's like the bad is so freaking bad. It's really bad.
Well, here's the thing. Before we wrap up here, I'll end with this on my end. Analytics are good. The people pushing at, because analytics never asked to be the do-all, end-all. They're just numbers.
It's a fact.
The people pushing it are really becoming the problem because their idea isn't that, and I said this before, isn't that, yes, you're right about that, you're right about this, but here's how the numbers work here, and here's how your numbers work. I get that. I just think this is more valuable. Theirs is, no, you're obsolete. Your numbers suck. They got to go. They got to be gone.
Exactly.
There is no comment. They got to go. They got to go.
The problem.
You can't have that. There's no. Either you do this and that's it.
No. Yeah, no, they're guaranteed with the analytics people. Everything is like, no. My numbers are what matters. Your numbers don't matter. And that's the argument. Every single time you get into a back and forth with these guys, whether it was about batting average when I was talking with these other people, now it was about that Kyle Schwarber has a better on base percentage. Like, I don't give a rat's ass. He gets on first base and the pitcher can ignore him and just proceed to pitch however the fuck he wants to pitch to Aaron Judge or whoever's batting second.
You got to make sure
because it's just one guy on base.
That's right.
It's not like he's getting on base and it's as good as having a guy in scoring position because of his speed. If Judge puts one in the gap, he's guaranteed to score. No, he's not. So it's like they're going to pitch to Judge pretty much the same way. It doesn't matter that Kyle Schwarber's on first. It matters a little bit more. Like, yes, DJ LeMahieu was not blowing by guys with his speed either, but at least it's a little bit better that when he's on first, they're going to be like, well, if Judge puts one in the gap, chances are he is going to score. And I don't care that Baseball Savant said that, whatever, because yes, last year DJ LeMahieu was injured the entire year. Of course, he was slower than probably fucking Sanchez last year, for all I know. You could see it all year. He was moving ridiculously slow. And the first 2 years with the Yankees, he was moving well enough.
Yeah, definitely. And the last thing I'll end off on that note with, for you younger Yankee fans out there who don't want me to say, look back at Henderson in the 80s, I'll give you a faster one that was Yankee related. 2009, Jeter and Damon.
Oh, Damon.
They were only reason that team got to where they are is because of the top of that order. Because they were so dynamic all year. Jeter and Damon, so dynamic all year. And that's all you got to look at. So I'll end it with that.
We messed up. Look, this is my last point on this because this shit gets me so agitated. But this is my last point, I promise. As I think the Yankees veered off to the wrong path when we made the deal for Aaron Hicks. I'm not going to go and please people before you go and start attacking whatever all your shit, because I know you analytics lovers out there can't get enough of your Aaron Hicks. I see what Cashman was doing. I see the potential that he saw because Aaron Hicks has had some good years in pinstripes. But what we knew about Hicks when we traded for him before he even got here was he wasn't really a threat on the bases, and like speed wasn't really a part of his game. Right. We were making the trade because he was a switch hitting, hitter who had a really good glove in the outfield. And, his on base percentage was something that we thought was going to fare well over here. But the Yankees were always a team that had a guy in center field a lot of the times who could run well. Who could run well. Like they weren't terrible on the base. Like, say what you want about Gardner, man. But like when Gardner was young, way back then, when Gardner was breaking into, Gardner was super fast. His glove was reliable, and he was a terror on the bases. Yeah, okay, right. Damon was super fast on the bases. We signed Ellsbury to do something that's similar, but we all know how that went. But that was the thought process, and all of a sudden we shifted to Hicks, and now he's blocking a guy like Florial who could kind of bring that feeling back of the outfielder with the decent glove and like the real athletic build who can like run the bases really well and like be a problem, wherever you put him in the lineup, because if he gets on base, pitchers got to kind of worry like this guy's going to try to steal a base on me or whatever, maybe throw off rhythm, maybe throw off timing, whatever. Look, that is what it is, man. I digress. I miss Johnny Damon. Put it like that.
Right.
I miss Johnny Damon.
We miss you, Johnny. That's to wrap up the show.
Never thought I'd be saying that
right.
shit in 2022.
Right. We miss you, Johnny. But that's it for us today, guys. Like I said, actually not really too much shorter of a show than we typically do, but just passed over the hour mark. But
nice.
Yeah, guys, let your comments be known in the comments section below. Let us know what you think about everything we talked about today. And with that being said, I toss it over to you, Francis, for the beautiful wrap-up.
You already know, ladies and gentlemen, please like, share, subscribe. NYY News TV. Follow all of the guys, not just me, but of course, please follow me. I think it's a shame that I'm still not over at least 1,000. Come on, people. But like I always say, the next episode is going to be the best episode. So please.
Designated Spittaz.
These Spittaz.
You guys know these Spittaz. We would never come whack on a Designated Spittaz track. Talk to you guys later. We out.
Oh, man.
Before it hits the front page.